And welcome in, soccer fans. Canada taking on La France, Les Bleus, in Le Mans, France today. The Women's International Soccer friendly game. I tell you what, it was a decent kind of game of football. Wasn't the best for Canada. France can feel pretty happy about it after 90 minutes plus, but it was decent enough to get ready for the World Cup. Remember, both teams will be playing in the 2023 World Cup coming up in July, not far away. This, in actual fact, as far as on paper, is the last warm-up game that Canada has before we get there. I hope there's more games coming. I really do, because you cannot turn up July 21st to play Nigeria World Cup game in Group B without having any kind of preparation games. I'm sure something's going to break. I'm sure Soccer Canada is going to get some games in here. But I'd like to see it on paper, because right now that's the last game we've got. Anyway, take a look at the new Canada shirts before we get to the game. Very flashy. Have a look at that. Pretty good, eh? I tell you what, that's a step in the right direction, huh? Makes me think of the late 1980s or the early 1990s shirts. There were some good ones, but there were some horrifically bad ones too, yeah? But for now, the red and the white, I want to see what Canada's black shirt's going to look like too. But anyway, two shirts out there, the red and the white one. I hope you liked them. Now for the game, take a look at the starting lineups. Now, the game itself, you've got to say, France came out, created lots of chances, looked like the team that were going to win this game. Eventually, they would win the game. But they were creating way more chances, looked lots more comfortable on the ball, passing it around, had the possession, had the pace down the wings, and had the control in the middle to look left and right and sway the ball, change direction, and literally control the game. And that's what they did in the first half. They controlled the game. When Canada moved forward, it was under pressure, without support, and lacking pace. Hoytema a few times went forward. I'm not coming down on you, but the pace isn't there. We need someone to get up forwards and get up there with some pace if we're going to go solo running at defenses, because if you're going to run at your own pace and run at an average pace, you're never going to beat 1, 2, 3 defenders. If you've got lightning pace, yes, you can. I don't say that everybody is an Alphonso Davies, but we've got to have some pace up front, and I think that you're going to realise that as we get to the World Cup, your fast-paced players normally get on the end of moves and normally put the ball in the back of the net. Half-time, luckily for Canada, I got to say, luckily for Canada, it was 0-0. Sheridan in net, I will say this much. Why don't you just stay close to the penalty box? There was a few times there. Take a look at the picture. What is she doing so far up the field? It's criminal as a goalkeeper to be so far out of your goal. It's very arrogant too. Really arrogant. So, like I say, I'm going to be real on this one. I'm going to give some real critique at the end of this too. But Sheridan in goal. Stay in your penalty box. Safe hands is one thing, but feet outside of your box, that's a different ball game. You're not an outfield player. You're a goalkeeper. Being critical here. Good keeper. She's very decent in net, but stay in your penalty box. Half-time, 0-0. Things are looking pretty decent. But second half gets underway, and you got to say, 50 minutes in, Grace Guillaureau for France, totally unmarked. Have a look at the picture. Totally unmarked. Stands in front of the goal. The ball comes across. Nobody's like pushing her, nudging her. She just rises up. Bang. 1-0. The simplest goal Grace Guillaureau is ever going to score in her life. 1-0 to France. Got to say, nice finish, but there was no defending. You got to get touch tight. And we weren't touch tight. We were miles off. We were literally 5-10 feet away from every France player in the penalty box. You might as well have said, hey guys, just score. Just score. Because it was that easy for Guillaureau just to push the ball past Sheridan in goal. 62nd minute, Christine Sinclair comes off. She's done all she can. Let's face it, she's getting up there in the age. Comes off at 62 minutes, could have scored earlier, but didn't get any luck in front of net, yeah? But 64 minutes. Sheridan, I've come down on you once. Got to come down on you this time. The ball comes back into the penalty area. Sheridan taps the ball to the right, as if she's going to pass the ball past the on-rushing forward. and then kick it out with the right foot. That's what she should have done. Do that, no problem. But no, what does she decide to do? She pushes it to the right. Then, as the forward gets real close on her, she drags it back in, making it easy for the forward to get a ball into possession of the French team. That's exactly what happens. The forward takes the ball from Sheridan, passes it to another, and then the other forward chips it right over the goalkeeper into an empty net. That was easy to avoid. Push the ball wide, correct, but kick it out. There's nothing wrong with kicking the ball out of play, but there's certainly a bad issue when you start playing ticky-tacky on the edge of your box and you cough it up and the other forwards play ticky-tacky and pass it into your goal. That's the real problem there. Beth Priestman needs to work on that, needs to fix that out, because at the World Cup, you've got great players coming at you, and it'll happen again. It's the most embarrassing way to get a goal scored on you is when the goalie starts to play ticky-tacky madness. Sheridan madness cost Canada the second goal, cost Canada the game. It needs to be ironed out. No more bullshit, no more pissing around on the edge of the box. Kick it out. I told you I was coming down and I was going to be real, and I am going to get real on Team Canada moving forward. Enough time has been taken by looking at our teams and not being real. I'm going to be real. Sheridan needs a good talking to in the locker room, and all the other players, she needs to absolutely talk to them guys and apologise, because we could have got something out of this game. Moving on, 71 minutes, we do get some luck in the game. Hoytema taps in for the 2-1. Sheridan doesn't make that mistake by ticky-tacking. We're back in the game, and it's a 1 apiece, and we probably come out of this game with a draw. So it's really important right now to let everybody know, stop this pissing around on the edge of the box, and all those guys that talk it on TV, they don't talk it right. This is something that needs to be hammered out of the game, and you need to go back to the old game of safety. Kick it out or pass it straight away, but stop goalkeepers thinking that they are skilled forwards, because as you saw in this game, she is not. Now, moving to the World Cup, I've got to say, Canada's going to have to do a lot better than this, an absolute lot better than this. We've got to move the ball faster, we've got to run faster, we've got to work harder, and we've got to act as a team. There's too many individual plays on this game today, and I really wasn't impressed with the game at all. For 90 minutes, I sat there, watched this game, and was not entertained, was not impressed, and I really think that we're not going anywhere at the World Cup. I think this team sitting sixth in the World Cup rankings, I should say, if we go further down the road at the World Cup, say the semi-finals, it will take an absolute fantastic effort from this team, and they will have to play for each other. Today, they didn't play for each other. Let's take a look at the stats. France had 13 shots on net. We had 6. 7 on target for France, 4 on target for Canada. 47% possession for France. We had 53% possession. Did nothing with the ball. That goal that we scored was another lousy mistake from a goalkeeper. Picot in net, drops the ball, Hoytema taps it in. That's the reality of Canada's goal. A goalkeeping error and a tap in from Hoytema. 2-1 on the day. We lose 2-1 on the day. Possession-wise, 53%. Passes, France 385, Canada 439. What are you doing with the ball? If you got the ball, great, but you got to do something with it. We had way more possession, way more passes, did nothing with it. I told you I was going to be real. Fouls on the day, 16 France, 8 to Canada. Yellow cards, 1 to France. Red cards, none. 2 offsides for France, 3 offsides for Canada, and 10 corners to 1. Those are the stats on the day. If you look at the stats, we had enough time on that ball to have done something with it. Beth Priestman, I'm coming down on you. It's your tactics that need to be a lot better than they were today, because I see no real tactics. I see a basic lineup, a basic push-out, but I don't see any press. I don't see any give and goes down the lines like you do with the men's team. I don't see any playmaker in the middle. I don't see a general on this team, and I don't see a leader. So we've got a lot of players, in my opinion. I could be wrong. You let me know. If you think I'm wrong, you let me know. But I think we got a lot of players that literally are not going to get us to the World Cup final. Maybe won't even get us to a World Cup semi-final. So we got a lot of work to do in the next 2 months. Let's organize some games. Let's get some more plays. And let's get these women ready. And let's really push them along in the right way. CSA, CSB. Let's fill them with games. Let's get them to the nice places, get them in the sun, get them training, get them prepped. Because right now, I don't think they're prepped for a World Cup. And if you've only got one game now and no game before you get to Australia, New Zealand for the World Cup, what are you going to do? Anyway, just my points on that. Furthermore, player of the day for Canada, I got to say, Alicia Chapman played a fantastic defensive game in there like steel, didn't back off, didn't stop running, didn't stop fighting. That's what we need on this national team. We don't need people coasting because there was too many people walking. And when you start walking, you start losing a game and you start looking bad on the field. And I'm not saying we look terrible, but there was too many people walking, not in the game. If they'd have been working like Alicia Chapman, we'd have come out of this with a win. I'm telling you now, it's the work rate that needs to really come up. Really come up. Next up is Nigeria. Like I say, we need games in between. On the day, 2-1 against France is not a battering. It's not a slaughtering. But it could have been a draw quite easily. And Canada, quite possibly, should have won this game. So Beth Priestman and the women, you've got a lot of work to do. CSB, games need to be arranged. And we need to prep this team properly. Because right now, I don't think they are. I told you I was going to be real. Guys, 2-1 on the day, not a bad loss. But we should have done better. That's my opinion. If you watch the game, tell me what you think down below, like you always do. I'm always big on Canada, you know that. But I tell you now, when it's bad, it's bad. And when it's good, it's good. And from now on moving forward, I am not candy coating anything anymore. I'm going for real. And that's the way it is. Guys, that's what happened today. That's what I'm thinking. Let me know what you're thinking. And as you say every day, go Canada, go. Cheers. And before we break away, guys, one piece of news. The next show is also All Canada, and that is the Canadian Premier League coming up on the 14th. We've got a show coming up next to let you know all about that. And the Canadian Championship is coming up as well too, April 18th. The next show is also going to tell you about that too. That's the next show, Canadian Premier League and Canadian Championship. Come on back for more.